Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
Jabba-doo.
And this is Count Jackula, and today we're going to talk about Frankie Freako, the latest film from director Stephen Kostanski, who some of you may remember was the director of the one, the only, Psycho Goreman. But he was actually more than that. He was actually a member of a film production company called Astron-6, who brought us such films as Manborg, The Editor, The Void, great movies. And this movie actually marks the return of Astron-6. So this is a Astron-6 proper movie and even features some actors that were in previous Astron-6 films. This is a real nostalgia trip for fans of old Astron-6.
Jabba-doo.
But more than that, this movie is about a guy named Conor who is a 1980s yuppie, a really boring, square-ass guy who is looking to spice up his life and learn the ways of being more interesting. So he calls a hotline which connects him to one Frankie Freako, a little alien demon gremlin thing that is essentially the embodiment of partying.
Yeah.
And he is looking towards Frankie Freako's help in order to learn how to be a proper freak. It goes in other directions in the last act, and we'll talk about that in the spoiler section, but that's the initial premise of this film.
Yeah, the real deal with this film is that it's an homage to movies like Ghoulies.
Yes. The idea behind this film is that it is a homage to films like Gremlins and Ghoulies, like tiny little monster movies. It's a homage to Full Moon movies, which is a bunch of tiny little monster movies.
Yeah, particularly like the Puppet Master films.
It's also a homage to Trickster Enters My Life and Turns It Upside Down movies. I'm talking movies like Drop Dead Fred, Little Monsters, and to a certain extent, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
It's kind of a homage to those movies too.
Beetlejuice is kind of like the great realization of that basic premise.
Absolutely. And it's also one where he remains the antagonist in the movie, where that's not always the case in some of these other movies.
Yeah. Usually the little creature is not necessarily the bad guy, but in Beetlejuice it is.
And to a certain extent, this movie also reminds me of Garbage Pail Kids, Freaked, and Howard the Duck, if you could believe it.
Yeah. There's a bit of Howard the Duck going on in here, you know. Gonna have to curb your expectations going in, because the puppetry ain't the best.
No, but it's intentionally not the best.
Yeah, but all right, let me put it this way. This is a lot closer to Munchies.
Yeah.
Okay, in terms of like production quality.
Well, you could tell that they wanted that kind of like cheesy practical puppet effect of something like Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah.
Or Freaked, or even Terror Vision.
They weren't making Dark Crystal. They weren't going for Labyrinth.
They weren't going for that high quality production value. It is gloriously shitty.
Yeah.
Kind of like Manborg, actually.
Yeah, it has a lot in common with Manborg as far as like, wow, production quality of this is kind of bad.
This is a science fiction horror comedy with an emphasis on the comedy part of that equation.
Yeah.
So everything in this movie has its tongue firmly in its cheek. Needless to say, if you do not like other Astron-6 films, and if you didn't like Psycho Goreman, the previous film this director directed, you're not gonna dig this movie.
Yeah, this is not gonna be it. This is actually also one of the lower production value ones that they have done. Like the two that were the really ones that had really high production quality were The Void and The Editor.
Because those ones were like more serious compared to this.
Yeah. Those were like, well, The Void was definitely 100% serious. The Editor was
its tongue was in its cheek,
but the comedy comes from how seriously the movie takes it.
Oh yeah.
You know,
but much like something like The Editor or Manborg, this movie is constantly poking fun of those old movies while also lovingly embracing them.
Yeah. I think when we were watching it, you referred to it as full moon chic. And I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Well, because it was reminding me a little bit of last year we watched Suitable Flesh, which recreated the look.
Recreated Stuart Gordon.
Yeah, it recreated the Stuart Gordon look. And I noticed a lot of those same tricks being used in this movie to recreate what was essentially like the full moon look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which never looked really great. All the sets look like they were shot on a soundstage, but that's like almost like an intentional choice in this movie.
Yes.
All the miniatures look like miniatures. They just happen to like have like people stop motioned into.
Yeah. Oh, actually, my favorite are always when like the puppets move and it's really obviously just someone grabbing the puppet and going,
oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, I just realized the guy who played the boss in this movie was the editor. He was the main character in the editor.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, I know this guy's face. I've seen this guy's. Now I remember.
I know that the guy who played Conor, the main character, played the twink in Father's Day, which is another Astron-6 film. There's a lot to love in this movie, but it is going to be an acquired taste. If you do not dig these people's other movies, this one isn't going to turn you around on them.
No, but with that said, this is totally the kind of movie that, like, I would have stayed up till 2 a.m. at a convention to see a screening.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like...
This is better than most of the shitty straight-to-video movies it's parodying.
Oh, yeah.
And I love a lot of those shitty straight-to-video movies it's parodying. So naturally, I love this too. This movie matched my freak.
Yeah.
The movie also just goes into wacky-ass directions. There's a point in which the characters go to a completely different dimension than the one that we're currently living in.
Yeah, the puppet monster dimension.
Yeah, and there's a lot of miniatures, and like they use a lot of the Manborg tricks with like green screens and things.
Yeah, a lot of green screens. I also felt like that part of the movie was also in many ways kind of an homage to the 90s Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes, I was thinking that too when we were watching it. That entire aesthetic behind the alternate world in that movie.
It's like a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk world, you know? But for some reason, like there are gangsters with Tommy guns and shit.
Yeah, for that matter, there's a little bit of Max Headroom in here. A little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. If you love any of the things we've mentioned so far, then I highly recommend Frankie Freako.
You really just gotta see it.
You need to shabadoo see it.
Shabadoo.
There's a character in the movie who runs around saying shabadoo all the time. And there's like variations of it. There's like shabadoo, shabadoo,
shabano.
Shabano. If you are on the wavelength of the movie, you're going to be quoting this with whoever else you show the movie to.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like while I was watching this movie that Frankie Freako is actually Count Jackula in disguise. Because
in many ways.
A lot of his life philosophy felt a lot like you. Yeah. There's a point in which you're wondering if he's a demon because like he'll like explode if a cross is near him.
Yeah. Like his face freaks out. It's never explained.
No.
Never explained.
No. The most they give you is like, oh, they're aliens from another dimension and they look like gremlins. That's
it. And one of them looks like the 6-shooter from fucking Puppet Master.
Yep, that's exactly who she was homaging to.
Yeah, well, it would have to be.
And the girl gremlin.
Right.
From Gremlins 2.
Right.
So, as I said earlier, you should see this movie. It is currently available on video on demand. You're going to have to rent it if you want to see it. No streaming platform has picked it up yet, though I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't end up on like Screenbox or Shudder at some point in the future.
It'll end up on something.
It's 100% on like those platforms' wavelengths.
Be prepared. The movie's dumb as shit.
Yeah. It had a small theatrical release, but I don't think it's still in theaters at this point. So.
I somehow doubt it.
I doubt it too. And so with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, let us move on to the spoilers so we can talk about how wacky this movie gets in the final act. Turns out Frankie Freako is actually a fugitive on the run from his home dimension.
Yeah.
There is an evil dictator who has taken over his dimension named President Munch. And President Munch does not like freaks. He likes business. He likes money. He's basically Donald Trump. He even has a Trump tower, a Munch tower.
Yeah. Yeah, except he talks like a 40s gangster.
He does.
And his robots that do his bidding also talk like 40s gangsters.
So while the first half of this movie is very much like a Gremlins where Frankie Freako shows up, he's trying to stop Frankie Freako, but they're doing like Looney Tunes antics at him the entire time. The second half of this movie, President Munch sends his androids to pick up Frankie Freako and this guy. Apparently, President Munch likes himself some twinks. I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be a nod to Father's Day, so I see what you did there. I see what you did there, movie.
Yeah.
now they must escape the dimension of Freakos in order to get back to Conor's house and not be killed for being too freaky. Though it turns out Conor's kind of safe from that.
Yeah, because he is so lame.
Yeah.
Like, they have, like, I don't even know what they call it, but it's a device that measures your freakiness and then kills you with it. But he's so lame, it does nothing to him.
Yeah, he is immune to the device, so President Munch cannot kill him with it. Oh, that thing that you're insecure about is actually your secret superpower.
Exactly,
He is insecure about the fact that he is such a square, but is actually the thing that saves the day in the end.
Yes.
This movie ends up culminating after a bunch of antics with various cyborg freakos and one, like, Igor-like freako who gets melted and just runs around going,
like the fucking dude from RoboCop.
He reminded me a bit of, what was it? It was actually also Astron-6, that short film trailer they made for
BioCop.
Yeah.
Yes.
He reminded me a lot of BioCop. Again, there's a lot of nostalgic throwbacks to other Astron-6 properties, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, the whole part of the whole joke with BioCop is that he's like constantly melting and in constant pain, and so he's trying to constantly commit suicide.
Yep.
And so he's like putting a shotgun under his head, blows the top of his head off, and he's like, "Why?"
But unfortunately, as they escape to Conor's house, President Munch turns into Uber Munch, which reminded me a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 with Super Shredder.
Yeah.
And now they must defeat Uber Munch.
Which, of course, they do.
They do. Using
know?
some of the tricks and antics they used to terrorize him earlier. Or at least he uses their tricks and antics to trick him, because he has now become the master of two worlds.
Yeah.
He is both a square and a freak.
This movie's so gloriously stupid.
It's gloriously stupid. The other big twist at the end is that it turns out his wife, who at the beginning of the movie, she's very sexually unsatisfied with him because he's such a square, he doesn't really have sex. He kind of just comes his pants by holding hands. And it's revealed at the end of the movie that the wife is actually a friend of Frankie Freako. She actually was the one who put the Frankie Freako commercials in front of Conor so that he would call and up his freak game so that she could finally get properly laid.
Yeah.
But even though he has become the master of two worlds, he isn't fully a freak or fully a square. Now he holds two hands to come.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of dumb shit in this movie.
There's a lot of dumb shit in this movie. And then the weird reveal at the end of the movie when it just turns into a Christmas movie in like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. I was like, we didn't establish no Christmas nowhere.
No, it just all of a sudden, hey, it's going to be Christmas next month. And
then,
like,
Christmas.
And then we get a Frankie Freako Christmas song.
Yeah, it's the second horror movie we watched that had a Christmas song that was specifically about the main character of the movie.
Yeah, Terrifier 3 also did that.
Yeah, it had Art the Clown Christmas.
It's now just a theme, and both movies came out Halloween instead of Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
But I do think if you are looking for a wacky, crazy, weird-ass movie to watch this Christmas season, you could go worse than Frankie Freako.
Yeah, you could do a lot worse than Frankie Freako.
You 100% could.
You know?
This movie is a lot of fun. I think that Psycho Goreman still tops this movie in terms of the movies that he specifically directed, but I like this movie a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I do think it would make a great double feature with Destroy All Neighbors.
It would.
Which came out earlier this year and is kind of homaging similar movies, like weird puppet movies, but is an entirely different plot than this has.
Yeah. Very, very different type of movie, but like it still has that weird kind of, that weird puppetry angle to it.
The magical monster trickster thing entering one's life and turning it upside down is very present in both movies.
Yes. Willie! Willie!
Do you have any final thoughts on Frankie Freako?
It's a good movie. You should watch it. I give it a solid thumb up.
And so with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Oh, you can find me here, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where I stream and we talk about all kinds of groovy things like horror and Transformers because they're more than meets the eye, and just whatever other like garbage we happen to absorb over the news or the internet. And what about you?
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month could go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. And if you made it this far into the video, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag Shabadoo. Was it any guess what hashtag we were going to use for this movie?
Yeah, you should have seen that one coming.
It was going to have to be Shabadoo. We were gonna not do Shabadoo. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and we'll catch y'all later.